beautiful dual opportunity. So we are going to be making jewelry, and the jewelry that we're making is Hanukkah themed. As you all have your jewelry, it's in the dreidel, and of course the actual stones and the whole theme is Hanukkah related, as we'll discuss, as we'll kind of unfold as everything plays out. Also, we are in the days, a few days preceding the holiday of Hanukkah. And this is, Hanukkah is like the greatest Jewish holiday, festival of lights, time of celebration with family and friends, safely, obviously, but celebration of light over darkness and oil over healthy eating. I'm pretty sure that was in the original prayers. That's part of the celebration. And so tonight, we're going to do a little bit speaking about the
kind of oil, it can be healthy.
Say it again.
If it's
olive
the right
oil,
kind
olive
of
oil.
it can be healthy.
Yes, correct. Yes, the olive oil could be healthy. Look, everything could happen, and anything could be a miracle. Even 8 days of, they say the miracle of Hanukkah was that only one jug of oil lasted for 8 days. The other miracle, the modern miracle of Hanukkah, is you can take a one latke, and light with it has enough oil also for 8 days. I mean, these are the modern day miracles of Hanukkah. But I feel like to get this started, I feel like there's no better way to get this party started than to unveil and to reveal the lamaka. Is anybody familiar with the lamaka? The lamaka. Notice my screen is moving. This, my friends, is the lamaka. This is happening. It's going to happen right now. All right, so folks, as we get started, here we go with our Hanukkah with the lamaka.
You should see this credits arrive. So funny.
My friends, it's not a party until you have the lamaka doing the opening dance.
So the mensch on the bench as competition.
The mensch on the bench, listen, that was like 2000 and I want to say 2015, 16. I mean, this is now the lamaka year. This is the year of the lamaka. So I can't even take credit for the lamaka. Donna gets credit for the lamaka. Donna, thank you for the lamaka. This is
My pleasure.
it's the greatest lamaka I've ever seen. That's it. So I want to just start off by talking about Hanukkah for a little bit, and then we're gonna get into the jewelry, and then we're gonna get back to Hanukkah themes. This is meant to be jewelry making and a Hanukkah celebration. I'm also gonna share, yes, it's happening tonight. I'm gonna share with you my recipe for potato latkes. And I'm telling you, these are incredible potato latkes. I even made them on Thanksgiving. And you might be wondering, what's the connection between potato latkes and Thanksgiving? I don't know that I have an answer for that question, but I do know that I made them on Thanksgiving, and they were incredible. So here we go. So an opening theme. So it's interesting that oftentimes the things that we overlook, or the things that we think are, it's cute, it's nice, but it may not be that significant, in Judaism have a lot of significance. And what I'm referring to is the dreidel. The dreidel, right? All of your jewelry, right? The jewelry, hold up your dreidels if you have it. If you already took out the stuff, even if you took it out. Okay, so everyone's got a dreidel, right? You got a dreidel. The dreidel has 4 sides, of course, and it has a point at the bottom. And then it has a handle at the top. And you spin it from the top down. Contrast this with the famous grogger, which is going to become very relevant soon when we talk about our Purim jewelry, which I don't think we should jump into yet. We're going to launch tonight a brand new Purim theme jewelry. But here's the deal. The grogger, we hold the handles at the bottom and we turn it, right? You hold the grogger, the little handle stick is at the bottom and the grogger part's on top. The noisemaker part is on top. The dreidel you hold from the top and it spins on the bottom. So what's the difference? So this is what's taught in Jewish tradition. Hanukkah and Purim are 2 beautiful holidays that, generally speaking, celebrate the Jewish salvation. At the famous line, They try to kill us. We won. Let's eat. And that could apply, first of all, to all holidays, but it can certainly apply to Hanukkah and Purim, right? They try to kill us or they try to destroy our religion. We won. Let's eat latkes and donuts, right? No better way to celebrate. Haman, right? The story of Purim. He tried to kill us. We won. Let's make pastries named after him and shaped after his three-cornered hat, which is its own discussion for another time, right? So it seems like they're the same, but they're very different. You see, on Purim, let's start with Purim first. On Purim, the decree was against our physical safety and security. You see, Haman, the wicked fellow, wanted to kill the Jewish people, straight up annihilate all Jews, man, woman, and child. And on a very physical level, the threat was an existential one on a physical level. And so that's why the Grager we hold at the bottom, because it represents the physical part, the physical element. Allegra's pointing out they were made after Haman's ears. Yeah, although his hat, the ears, there were a lot of triangular things with him, but I prefer to think of the hat than the ears. It's just me, just, as far as what's more tempting to eat. But let's get back to Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a celebration the decree was not against Jewish bodies as much as it was against the soul of Judaism. It wasn't against the Jewish people, it was really against the Jewish religion, which then obviously affects the Jewish people, but it was really against the Torah and the mitzvot. It's the spiritual elements of Judaism. And so therefore, that's why on Hanukkah, it's all about the light and the oil. It's a spiritual, it's a ethereal celebration. We also have a physical way of celebrating, mind you, but it really is primarily a spiritual celebration. And so it's a wonderful time to celebrate. It's a wonderful time of the year, always this time of the year to celebrate Hanukkah and to remember the spiritual messages about light over darkness, good over evil, and our ability to light one candle and transform the world. One thing that I'll mention before I turn it over to Donna, and we are going to play some music. So we have some Adam Sandler lined up, and I'll do some DJing soon. So we got a bunch of stuff lined up. But one thing that I wanted to mention before I hand it over to Donna in about 45 seconds is the notion of how do we combat darkness in our lives, in the world, etc. There's two approaches. One says you got to fight the darkness, but that never works. If you go down to your basement and the light's not on and it's dark, I don't know that you want to pick up a baseball bat and try to beat away the darkness. That doesn't really, it's not effective. How do you, what do you do with the darkness? Simple, you don't deal with it, you just turn on the light, because the moment the light's on, the darkness has no place to hide. The darkness automatically fades away when you shine the light. And that's a message for all of us this time of year, and really always, it's our job to shine the light, and automatically that will dispel the darkness. Okay, so with that, let me formally hand it over to Donna. Donna, please take it away.
Thank you, Rabbi Ari, and that's a great introduction, and it sets the stage for my philosophy and how I've designed these pieces. And I like to call it Nouveau Judaica. You know, we're used to, if we go to a Jewish gift store or a gift shop in a Jewish museum, things like that, we know what we're usually going to expect in the realm of jewelry. Usually, it's a chai or a Star of David on a chain, things like that. And so the jewelry that I've been encouraged by Rabbi Ari to design and create together with you more comes from inside our soul. And it has, it inspires imagery of the holidays. So as the rabbi was saying about the spirit of the light and the light within and the light that we can share, that is exactly the themes behind my designs for this evening for the Hanukkah set of bracelet and earrings. But of course, as the rabbi says, let's eat, that's every Jewish holiday. Also, let's have some fun. So every Jewish holiday as well. So there's always the playful component as well. So we're able to encompass everything. And as you are going to create the pieces yourself, so you'll be internalizing all of these inspirational ideas and themes and motivations. And when you wear it, they're all going to manifest. Okay, great. So let's get started with the jewelry. I'd suggest that you put, I'm going to lower my screen so you can see my workspace. I would suggest to make the assembly easiest we're going to start with the bracelet. And so the bracelet is composed of first I wanted to describe what the beads are made of. So these beads that we're using tonight are called Czech glass beads. The first necklace that we did, our first session, was with gemstone beads, white jade. The second session, we used Swarovski crystals, which are made of glass, but a very elaborate, very sophisticated gem-like process. So, the component may start with glass, but they're definitely not glass beads. And Czech glass, and that they come from Austria, the Swarovski, the top crystal in the world. And these beads that we're using tonight are called Czech glass beads. They're from the Czech Republic, the authentic ones. Again, Eastern Europe, which is a capital of working with glass and making glass beads. So the beads we're using tonight are called Czech glass. They're Czech glass beads, and it's a process of pressing glass and they're also using flames. They're called to give them the shine. So it's very appropriate, again, that the actual materials that we're using tonight incorporate flame, because the process of making these Czech glass beads use flame to assist in the process of forming the beads. So that's very appropriate. Not only is the flame imagery are we going to make, but the beads themselves, the components, were fabricated using flames. And so we're going to start. Let's take the beads that are multicolored to make it easier and put them in one pile, please. The multicolored beads. And then in another pile, assemble the white beads and then the gold beads. And of course, keep the focal close at hand. Okay, so, and of course, you're going to start with your cord, your stretch cord. And remember the lessons we have learned that apply to any bead making process. Always be attentive to where the beads are so that they don't fly away or fall away or anything like that. And once you start beading, to make sure everything is flat and accounted for, so that once you started beading, there's no mishap. And for one reason or another, the beads somehow fall off the string. So those are, the key principles that apply to every beading project. Okay, so again, we learned along the way that we like to start on the right side in Judaism. That's a powerful message. And could you remind us, Rabbi, of the significance of starting on the right side, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So right is associated with the energy of chesed, which is loving kindness. The left side, this is according to Kabbalah, the left side is associated with gevura, which is severity and sternness. And although both are necessary in a healthy personality, we have to know when to give and also when to withhold, when to open up and also when to create boundaries. But we try to lean toward the side of generosity and openness when we have a choice between the two. So we always, when we get dressed, it says even when you come to a fork in the road, unlike what Yogi Berra said, which is take it. The Jewish position is if you really don't know where to go, then always go right. So we always start with the right, which is side of chesed.
Thank you. So we're going to start stringing on the right side of the cord. And if you have your printout, the PDF that shows the design that's open, so you can see just on the, on the high level, we have, again, everything is balanced. And so on one side, we have a large section of multicolored donut-shaped Czech glass beads. And then we're going to follow that by candle-like presentation of white and gold beads with a focal of gelt, latke, or central candle. and then repeat all on the left side. So that gives the general layout of how we're going to be beading. Now for the multicolored donut-shaped beads, it's up to you to randomize or how you like to mix the beads. It's, I have assembled it so it's multicolored, so it looks like the picture that I included in the handout that shows all the colorful, donuts that are kind of falling. So it definitely mirrors that. So that's what the approach that I took. But, there's about 7 different colors in there. If you like, you could, put all of each color together and then one color after another. But this is how I interpreted it. So how we're going to start is take the stretch cord and then simply bead. Take the stretch cord in your left hand, assuming you're right-handed, and then put a bead through one of the donut beads. It should be straightforward. These should be very uniform holes in the beads. These are relatively easy beads to bead, not like the Swarovski pearls we used in the last project. Those were a little difficult because pearls are a little more sophisticated, a little more fragile. So the whole process of making the beads and with the holes becomes very delicate. So this, one of the benefits of using the Czech glass, that is a definitely more sturdy and more consistent process. So these beads should be very easy to bead. And I've put down on the PDF that for the typical average woman's size of wrist, we're going to string 28 of these multicolored donut beads. So that's the first step of the process. We're going to string, starting on the right side with the cord, 28 of the multicolored donut beads. Excellent. Now, so that'll take a few moments. Did you want to play the Adam Sandler song while we're doing this, Rabbi?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get a little soundtrack.
Nice.
Right. By the way, I'll also mention while the beating is happening that if anybody needs, again, the copy of the PDF of the instructions, I sent it via email, but I also dropped it into the chat. So it's definitely available. All right. And I'm going to play the Adam Sandler song.
And anyone has any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself. I know some of you, it might be your first time, beating with me. So any question is a good question. So don't be shy. Happy to answer any questions.
And feel free to unmute yourself at any time and ask a question or throw it into the chat, and we'll be right on that. Even if the Adam Sandler song is playing, you can still we'll even pause it. Don't worry.
Right.
I was wondering, can we use the like there are multicolored beads and then there are just these regular kind of like blue ones?
Okay, so yeah, I think I know what you're asking. So what's interesting that's an interesting point that you raised, because there's, among these multicolored beads, there's about 3 different hues, HUES, in the blue family. So actually, if there's actually 3 different blues. So one is like a pure turquoise on both sides. One is like a sea blue and then a metallic on the back. And then another one has like a gold on the back and is more a little greenish. But so for the colorful part, you're free to use your creativity. Ordinarily, I would say use your creativity at all times, but when we get to the candle part, that does have a structure that's going to yield the look of the candle. So we have less flexibility at that point if you want to maintain the imagery of the candles. But at the part we're on now, you're free in the 28 donut bead section that we're doing now to to interact with the different color beads in any way that that you liked. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Also, I wanted to point out, following up on Rabbi Ari's discussion of the dreidel, I found something interesting that I put in the PDF about the Kabbalah of the dreidel and the 4 different letters on the dreidel. And it's just very inspirational that, you know, follows upon, you know, be the light. So when you have a chance, I recommend that you also take a look at that, because it's very inspirational. Okay. Thank you.
I have another quick question. Are we supposed to put 28 on each side,
Yes.
or
Yes, yes. We're going to start
Thank
with
you.
the donut, the multicolored donut beads, 28. Yes, yes. So the way we're beading it, so I'm showing here now on my screen, I show you a completed bracelet, and you see it's a full circle. So in this way, it looks like it's a consistent, you know, line of the colorful beads, but we connect the bracelet at the middle of that line of colorful beads. So that's how that looks as we're constructing it. So to make that symmetry, we have to have the totality of the number of beads and make sure that we string that equal number on each side of the cord to maintain the equilibrium. So that's why.
What happens if you can't see the hole?
Yes, I'm sorry. So strong lighting helps,
I've got
and
the
reading
light.
glasses help.
I'll just hang on and watch y'all.
Okay, you could probably during the day, there's more light. And, you
Right.
know, yes, so with the instructions and everything, you know, first of all, you know, being with us tonight and
Right.
listening together with us, and then on your own with the written instructions, they're very helpful. And then, of course, you have your own assistant designer with Joy, who's become an expert at this point. So, so I know you'll be able to, you know, to accomplish it, you know, in the comfort of your own time.
Well, Allegra, you're going to have to make another bracelet, dear. I'll put it in the mail.
But, you know, I have, you know, the same issue. I have to use strong lights and reading glasses. So, you know, we all have to
Right.
have that, because they're very small pieces of, right, they're very small and very small holes and very thin strings. So last session, we had an even thinner cord because the hole of the pearl is more delicate. So that, as we all can attest to, was even more challenging, but we were able to persevere and get it done. Any other questions? Is everyone making headway on the 28 donut beads? I also wanted to show you, I have this, what I call it, the Hanukkah version of a Christmas ornament. large blue jingle bells and a silver cord.
All right, let's see if we can get that music playing.
Nice.
There's a lot of Christmas songs out there, and not too many Hanukkah songs. So wrote a song for all those nice little Jewish kids who don't get to hear any Hanukkah songs. Here we go. Hanukkah, so much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah. Hanukkah is festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we have 8 crazy nights. only kid in town without a Christmas tree. Here's a list of people who are Jewish, just like you and me. David Lee Roth lights the menorah. So do James Conn, Kirk Douglas, and the late Dinah Shora. Guess who eats together at the Carnegie Deli? Bowser from Shanana and Arthur Fonzarelli. Paul Newman's half Jewish, Goldie Hawn's half too. Put them together, what a fine looking Jew. You don't need deck the halls or jingle bell rock, 'cause you can spin a dreidel with Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, both Jewish. Put on your yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. The owner of the Seattle Supersonicas celebrate Hanukkah. O.J. Simpson, not a Jew. But guess who is? Hall of Famer Rod Carew. He converted. We got Ann Landers and her sister, dear Abby. Harrison Ford's a quarter Jewish, not too shabby. Some people think that Ebenezer Scrooge is. Well, he's not, but guess who is? All three Stooges. So many Jews are in showbiz. Tom Cruise isn't, but I heard his agent is. Tell your friend Veronica, it's time to celebrate Hanukkah. Oh, boy, get a harmonica on this lovely, lovely Hanukkah. So drink your gin and tonica and smoke your marijuana. If you really, really wanna go, have a happy, 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 happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah.
Yay. Nice, nice. I wish
Hey,
they would play.
Donna,
Yes.
I'm presuming that you put in extra beads in some of these kits
Yes.
just in case. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, you remember we did that last time too,
Yeah.
because we want to be able to size it if you need. Thank you. Yes, for pointing that out. Yeah. So I was just saying at the end of, I wish they would play that song in the stores and the restaurants, just like they play all the Christmas songs.
Right.
Anyway.
I vote for that.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So any other questions? You're all making headway on the stringing? I've pretty much, okay, I think we pretty much did the 28 donut for one side. Okay, so now, after you've done the 28 multicolor donut beads, starting from the right side, and again, be very careful with the cord so you know the beads don't fall off now that you've spent all that time putting it on. Okay, so now the next section is we're going to make it look like lit candles, white candles with the golden flames. And we're going to do that so it actually looks like a menorah, you know, 4 on one side, 4 on the other, and then with a central, put it down here, the central shamash. Is that correct, the way to pronounce it, Rabbi?
Yes, yes, the shamash.
Shamash. I think you wanted, you know, you mentioned that there's special symbolism about the shamash.
Yeah, the shamash is really fabulous because, you know, the original, I should mention, the original temple menorah only had 7 branches. And the 7 branches, there was 1 in the center, 3 on each side, and they were all equally the same height. They were all part of the original mitzvah, the menorah. And of course, the story goes that the Greeks defiled the oils, and when the Jews came back, they only found one jar of oil that should have lasted for 1 day, but it lasted for 8 days. And so our tradition is that we light a candelabra that has one branch for each of the 8 nights or 8 days of the miracle. So we have an 8-branch candelabra, but we also have a center stem. So we have 4 on each side typically, and then a center stem. But this is not one of the mitzvah candles of the menorah. It's just the helper candle called the shamash. The shamash is basically the lighter that lights the other ones. So we have, and to demarcate the distinction between the helper and the mitzvah, so the helper is on a different height level than the mitzvah candle. So you have 8 mitzvah candles on the same height, and then you have typically the shamash is taller than the other ones. There's a beautiful symbolism in that. Because although it's not a mitzvah in and of itself, its entire function is to help the other candles. And sometimes we think in life that if we are helping someone else out, if we're giving of our own light to someone else, or sharing of our own wisdom, resources, time, whatever it is, we might think that we're going to be diminished in the process. If we give, then we're losing something. But Judaism reminds us that just like when it comes to fire, if we give fire, we don't lose fire. We're just magnifying or multiplying the fire. Same thing is true with all of our resources. When we're giving it in the right way, it doesn't diminish, it only magnifies. And in the process, we rise higher. Not higher than the other, but we rise higher than where we were standing before. It's by sharing our gifts with others that we're truly elevated. So there's a beautiful message right there in the shamash.
Thank you, Rabbi. So starting, once you finish the 28 multicolored donut beads, and it's also written in the PDF, we're going to go with a white bead and then the gold bead. And you'll see that the gold bead is a different structure. It's not the same round donut that we use so far. So that's actually called a spacer bead in beading terminology, which is used to space between beads and to give accents and color and dimension and things. And for us tonight, it represents the flame. So we're going to do one white bead, then one gold, white, gold, white, gold, white, gold, until we have, and then white. So we're going to have, it's going to be, you start with a white bead, you alternate with the gold bead, and you end with a white bead. So there's 5 white beads and 4 gold beads sandwiched in between those white beads alternatively. So that's our next step in the process. And once we accomplish that, we're going to get to the symbolic shamish. And as you notice, not only is it representing that tonight, but it also can symbolize the latke, it can symbolize guilt. So a lot of meaning for this Hanukkah holiday. It's a gold, dipped in gold, round coin shape. Any questions on the beading? And when we string, so we've been doing all of the beads that we've been using so far, similar shape and similar or complementary style. And when we have a different type of bead or charm that's in the middle of the bracelet that demarks the middle for some symmetry, we call that a focal bead, a focal or focal charm. So focal meaning center of attention, kind of similar function that a pendant takes on a necklace. So yes, so each of our classes, we introduce another element of jewelry making. And tonight we're adding in the concepts of spacer beads and focal charms. Excellent. So if we've gone through that first series of white gold, etc. And then you can put on string the focal bead. So you're halfway there. And we're basically going to do the same thing, but in reverse for the left side. And we're going to start with the white bead, then the gold bead, and do that all together 4 times and end with a white bead. So again, you can see as you're stringing that it does look like it gives the imagery of white candles and gold flames. And just as an aside, I forget already that you made a joke about the unhealthy oils or something. And so it's funny in my little, this is from Chabad.org, in my discussion of the donuts and latkes. They start with this. I took it straight. It says, it starts out with Jews eat greasy food on Hanukkah. That's how Chabad.org starts its discussion of donuts and latkes. It says, and they give the history, how this custom started. It says it seems to have started by Rabbi Maimon ben Joseph in 1110, the father of Maimonides. Okay, people shouldn't be lenient regarding any custom, even the lightest of customs, and one is obligated to make every effort to prepare festivities and foods to publicize the miracle that God did for us on those days, that is Hanukkah. There, okay. So it's almost a mitzvah to eat latkes.
And I think it's pretty incredible. It says over there that it's Maimonides' father who created it.
Yes, it says the earliest mention of this custom seems to have been made by Rabbi Maimon ben Joseph, born 1110, the father of Maimonides. And he said, people shouldn't be lenient regarding any custom, even the lightest of customs, and one is obligated to make every effort to prepare festivities and foods to publicize the miracle that God did for us on those days, that is Hanukkah. It has become customary to make sufganiyot, known in Arabic as al-sifing. This is an ancient custom because they are fried in oil in remembrance of this blessing, in remembrance of his blessing.
So Maimonides' father gave us Maimonides, and he also gave us the latke. That's a pretty good track record right there. All right, I feel like I want to share with you my latke recipe.
Did he give us jelly donuts too?
Okay. So I don't want to confess. I don't want to, if people are beating and whatever, I don't know that I want to.
I think we're at the stage where now it's just everyone's catching up to finish the left side of the cord. So I think it's a good time.
All right, I'm going to share with you my latke recipe. But here's the truth. My latke recipe is pretty much the same as my potato kugel recipe, which I think is pretty good. So either way, it should do the trick. What I'll do is I'll also include it in the chat box. I'll write it out. I'll type it out, and that way you can just copy and paste it if you want, and you don't have to worry about writing it down. I'll type it out right after I finish sharing. So I keep it very simple. Like really simple. I have just 5 ingredients: potatoes, onions, oil, right? Obviously oil, eggs. Hold on, let's see if I may have more than 5. Potatoes, onions, oil, eggs, and salt and pepper. Okay, so 6 ingredients. Or 4 ingredients and 2 flavorings. Okay, so here's what I do. I use Yukon Gold potatoes. I think I like the way they come out. So I use Yukon Gold potatoes. I use sweet onions, and then oil and eggs. You can use whatever oil you want. Eggs are eggs, and then salt and pepper. So I start off with a 5-pound bag of Yukon Gold potatoes, and about 3 pounds of sweet onions. So if you get the large sweet onions, maybe that's too large, but whatever, like the larger sweet onions, it's usually about 3 of them. So I use a food processor. I'm not with a grating blade, not a blade that grates on you. That's something else. That might be a broken piece. But no, this is a blade that does a medium size, like a medium sized shredder or grater blade, and that way I don't use the old ribbeisen. You know what a ribbeisen is? In Yiddish, ribbeisen is that metal thing that you take your knuckles off on. You know what I'm talking about? Back in the day, it would stand up. You would be like, a grater, right? Old school, which people still use. And if there are advantages, by the way, of using that, the actual grater, but in the interest of time and perhaps even safety, I use a food processor, and I put the potatoes through and I put the onions through. And now I have a potato and onion blend. I then add 4 to 5 eggs, about a half a cup of oil, and a tablespoon of salt and pepper. I put in pepper. And then you mix everything together. So it's really simple. 5 pounds of potatoes, 3 pounds of onions, eggs, oil, mix it all together, shred the potatoes and onions, mix the other stuff in. And then I usually do it I mix everything in a big bowl. And then I take a quarter of a cup, like a measuring cup, that's a quarter of a cup size. And I scoop from the potato latke mixture. And I use that instead of like a spoon or whatever. I use a quarter of another form of, this is how I scoop it out essentially and place it in the frying pan. So I use the quarter of a cup scoop, measuring a cup, and then put in the frying pan. And I usually use just like canola oil, some basic oil for frying, but you can certainly use olive oil if you want. I've heard, and I've actually used it in the past. I've used what's a good oil that has a high burning temperature? I think it's peanut oil. Is it peanut oil?
Peanut oil and also sunflower oil.
Okay, good. Yeah, peanut oil or sunflower oil. They have
Avocado oil too.
And macadamia nut oil too.
Okay, so we
Burns
have
at a nice hot temperature.
Okay, great. So sunflower oil, we have peanut oil, we have macadamia oil, and what was the other one?
Sunflower.
Avocado.
Avocado.
So how much
Avocado
oil
also.
goes into the mixture? I usually put between a half a cup and 3/4 of a cup. It really depends on your consistency. I mean, you don't need that much oil because you're going to fry it in oil anyway. Oh, is your question how much oil goes into the mixture? Yeah, about between a half a cup and 3/4 of a cup. Just see what's going on. By the way, I will tell you, this is, okay, once you're asking about the oil, it all depends on how much liquid is in the mixture after the grating. Because when you use a food processor, it extracts a little bit of more moisture than if you do it by hand. So you end up with a bit of a wetter mixture. So you may need a little bit less of some of the other wet ingredients. If you do it by hand, it's typically a drier experience. But again, your mileage may vary based on the specific type of hardware or software that you use to accomplish the task. But I try to keep it very simple and efficient and knock it out. I mean, the main, just between you and me, to make that mixture takes me between the peeling and everything, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. But if I have one frying pan and that mixture that I told you, the quantity of 5 pounds of potatoes and 3 pounds of onions, if I have that mixture, I could be frying for, an hour and a half, possibly even longer if you have one pan. So you may want to use more than one pan. You may want to, whatever it is, but you just try to keep it as efficient as possible. On Thanksgiving, the reason why I mentioned this is because I had one pan for whatever reason, and I was there for like a good 2 hours trying to get through everything. And then at the end, maybe not a full 2 hours, it felt like 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. And then at the end, I still had so much left. I said, you know what? I'm actually going to bake this as a potato kugel. And I poured the rest into a small pan and baked it on 375, and we had potato kugel. Anyway, can't go wrong with this recipe. You can throw in chives if you want. You can throw in scallions. You can spruce it up. You can put in Allegra's ready to get back to the jewelry making. What is this jewelry class? What do you
Here
mean?
we
This
go.
is food. I'm kidding. We're gonna get back to it in a second. But just quickly, so how to spruce it up. If you're wondering, you could put in, as I mentioned, scallions, chives. You can swap out some of the potatoes, and you can use
I use leeks.
beets. You said
No, leeks.
leeks. Yes, but remember, if you're using zucchini or leeks, these are these are a little bit more liquidy. So you have to just know your ratios and go with that. But you can't really go wrong. I mean, you're taking something with theoretically potato and onion and a vegetable like that with a good tang to it, and you fry it. I mean, can you really go wrong? The answer is no. You can't really go wrong. But these latkes, I mean,
Hey.
I was gonna save one, but it was, like 2 weeks ago. So whatever. I figured I'd have Rahmanas on you all and just tell you about it. Okay. All right. Back to the jewelry. I'm gonna type in the recipe in the meantime.
Perfect, thank you. All righty, yes. So now that we've finished all the beading, both sides, we are ready to turn our work into a bracelet. Okay, now at this point is when you have to be extra careful to make sure that your handiwork stays safe, meaning nothing falls off of the cords. So Joy noted before that you have some extra beads, the multicolored beads especially, in your kit, and this was in case you lost a bead or two, or in case you want to make the bracelet bigger than how I've sized it. Now I've sized it, this bracelet here, with this design for a comfortable fit, not tight and not loose, but just comfortable for a medium average size woman's wrist. Now to see how that works on your wrist, we're going to size it before the cord that we strung before we tie it and turn it into a bracelet. So to do that, take your left hand, if you're left-handed, and put the two ends of each side of the cord together in your left hand between your thumb and first finger. So a solid grip. Again, so we don't want any beads to fall off. And so the cord should be about even size on each side at this point that you're holding it. Okay, once you've done that, then take your right hand and push together the two sides of the beaded cord so that it's flush with each side, and then a hold grip tight, very tight, because you don't want it to undo, and then gently and slowly put it on your wrist. Remember I told you last time, when you put a bracelet on your wrist, you keep your hand flush together, all the fingers relatively flat, just slightly upwards of the knuckles. You don't do this, and that's for any stretch bracelet that you have, putting it on and off. This is what's going to help maintain its integrity. You on and off, and you gently roll with the other hand on and off the wrist. So here, by sizing it this way, you can see the size it is now, it's comfortable in an average size wrist. If you wanted it bigger, again, gently roll it off. Now, if you want to make it bigger, you can put an extra bead on each side of the colorful bead. Or if or two beads on each side if you want. Okay. All right, so now we come to closing the bracelet, making it a bracelet. So take each of the sides of the cord, the ends of the cord, hold them together so they're flush together, and then gently stretch down the beaded parts so they're pretty much even. Everything we're doing now is very gentle and slow and deliberate, so as not to lose any beads. Okay, once you've done that, then separate the two sides of the cords and tie a double knot. Now just do it very, very gently, slowly, but firmly. But again, it has to be very, very smooth. You don't want to do it too tight, but you don't want, but you also want it to be firm. And so pull it gently together. And then tie a knot again. This one now you can be a little more firm in that. And one last time. Another knot. Voila. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so now you have a finished bracelet. And if you want, you can dab a tiny bit of glue at the knot, and Gorilla Glue would be good. And then you let that set a bit, and you snip off the ends, but not too close. You know, let a little tiny bit show, because if you get it too close, you might just cut the whole bracelet open. So once again, it's clear cord, so a little bit, a tiny bit extended from the knot is fine. Excellent. Any questions? Rabbi, you got a question.
Yeah, hold on. I'm very engrossed in my writing up of the recipe, but I'm gonna get back to.
Excellent. So you guys are
Okay,
closing up the bracelet?
Still stringing the 28.
I'm sorry.
I'm still stringing the 28
That's
on the
okay.
other side.
Take your time, because you have, it's okay. You can finish it at your own time. That's fine. You have the PDF instructions.
Could you show again how you initially put it together before you slide it on your hand? What is the technique again?
Let's see. Okay. So you hold, yeah, okay, that's good. The way you're holding it, that's good. You're starting the right way, yep. Okay, that's good the way you have it. So now hold one side of the cord in one hand and the other, yeah, okay. Now tie a knot. Yeah, hold it up so I can see, please. Yeah. Yes. Now pull gently and firmly, gently, firmly. Pull, 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 pull. Pull, pull, pull till the two sides get full.
Okay.
Yep. Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. Good job. Any other questions?
I'll mention, Anastasia asked a really good question in the chat, where she asked, potatoes are not that old as being part of cuisine. So what did it look like before? So Linda answered, they ate cheese latkes mostly. Yeah, I mean, the truth, so I don't know. I mean, that sounds right to me. It's just, I think the main thing is some sort of dish with oil, right? Some sort of dish with oil. When potatoes became popular, potatoes, Now all the rage is kale, kale latkes. I'm kidding about the kale latkes. Sorry. But, latkes are really fun. You just kind of throw in whatever. I know what you're thinking. Can't get away from the latkes. I know. Yes, that is true. Yeah. I wanted to mention also something about the dreidel, if I may. So the dreidel has four sides, like I mentioned before. And as you know, and on each side, there are letters. And it's on your, the instructions on the front page, you see the four letters from right to left, Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin. And it stands for four Hebrew words, Nes, Gadol, Haya, Sham, which means a great miracle happened there. In other words, in ancient Israel, a great miracle happened there. Nes, Gadol, a great miracle, Haya, Sham happened there. And of course, there's the game of dreidel where you could play with some gelt or chocolate gelt, which really is the only gelt around, right? Chocolate gelt. And you can spin the dreidel, and depending on what side it lands on. So nun typically is, nothing happens. The pot stays, the gelt stays in the middle. Gimel, you get the whole thing. Yes, Razel, excellent. Yeah, I was going to mention that as well. We'll get to that Razel's comment in a second. So hey, you take half, and shin you have to put in to the collection of coins, to the collection of gelt. As Razel is pointing out, in Israel, the dreidels have one letter different. Instead of the shin at the end, it has a pei. Neis gadol haya po, which means a great miracle happened here. Because
It's
it
here.
happened in Israel. So, I mean, we're saying it happened there, and they're saying it happened here. I should mention along those lines, I just had a thought to remind me to mention to all of you to join us Saturday night. We have a really incredible program lined up, speaking about miracles that happen there in Israel, or if you're in Israel here. So we're going to have the chief engineer of the Iron Dome missile defense system in Israel. If you think about the last 10 years and, modern Jewish Israeli miracles, I think definitely the Iron Dome fits into that category, having intercepted more than 2,500 missiles or rockets that could have caused, just unthinkable harm. And it's truly a blessing to Israel and a blessing to our people. And it's produced by a nice American Israeli rocket scientist who we're going to have with us live from Israel. 3 a.m. his time, 8 p.m. our time, Saturday night. Light your menorahs, gather the family around the computer or the screen, and join us for this virtual event. And if you sign up, you can even pick up a gift box with donuts and latkes and be ready with food for the event. Legit. Now, if you're in Atlanta, if you're out of Atlanta, it's a little bit more difficult to get it to you, but in Atlanta, you can pick it up and have it in time for the celebration.
I have a question. When did eating donuts, jelly donuts, become popular?
I would ask the other way around. When were they ever not popular? No, I'm kidding. It's a good question. I don't know the exact timeline on when sufganiyot became a thing. I can't imagine it's been that long. When have donuts? I don't know. We would have to look it up. I'm sure Reb Google has an opinion on that as far as when sufganiyot became a thing. If anybody knows the answer, you can jump in and share. I will say,
I'll call your
I went to Kosher Gourmet here in Atlanta, our local one of our local kosher shops, and they have for this year an incredible array of exotic donuts. They have cookies and cream donuts. They have lemon meringue donuts. They have s'mores donuts. It's actually incredible.
Birthday cake donuts.
Which one?
Birthday cake. The birthday cake donut.
Birthday cake donut. Yeah, I mean it's the caramel apple pie. Yes. Razel, you and me both. I had to sample. Just make sure. Make sure they're kosher. I'm kidding. Make sure they tasted good, and they were pretty amazing. Okay. If anybody has an answer about the timeline on
the Google says that they originated in Europe in the 1500s. And Polish Jews fried them in schmaltz. And then they were taken to Israel, where they were renamed sufganiyot based on the Talmud's description of a spongy dough.
That's incredible. So
thank you.
You got the original. First of all, I'm a little bit surprised that it goes back to the 1500s. It seems like a long time for donuts to be around. I had no idea. That's interesting. And then in Poland, they used to fry them in schmaltz. I guess that's what schmaltz, for those that are not familiar with schmaltz, and I don't want to, make anyone grossed out, but schmaltz is chicken fat.
Yeah.
That's what schmaltz is. Yeah. Sorry, Allegra. But that's what it was. Today, schmaltz is not used. By the way, many of us on this Zoom broadcast right now have memories of our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, on Passover especially, making food with schmaltz. So it's not that far removed from our experience. Maybe a generation or two, and that's it. And schmaltz was all the rage. Even today, spoiler alert, even today, Passover, people use schmaltz. Especially people that have the custom to not use any processed foods on Passover, like all natural, nothing processed. So what are you gonna do? Press your own olives. So one way is to use schmaltz. By the way, happy birthday to Allegra. Allegra's birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Allegra. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Oh, perfect segue for the bells. Doesn't get any better than that.
Rabbi, Allegra is my great granddaughter.
That's amazing.
It
What
is.
you mean?
So then you're Joy's Bubby?
Yes and no.
Allegra is my granddaughter, and her grandfather is Audrey's son.
Got it.
The other side, the father's side.
Yes, it's Alex's father.
Incredible. Allegra, happy birthday. And Bubby,
Thank you very much.
many happy and healthy years. She's truly a great granddaughter.
How's everybody doing? We got your bracelets. We're ready to move on to the earrings.
Can I say the bracelets are looking fantastic? I'm seeing a few of them. They look great.
Nice.
Hold them up if you haven't held them up yet. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Gewaldic. Amazing.
Good job, everybody. Wear them well. All righty. Now, this is our first time making earrings. We've done a necklace. This is our second bracelet that we just did, and now a pair of earrings. Okie dokie. Now, these earrings that we're doing, so earrings are more challenging to come up with a project to do together because most earrings we require tools, pliers, special jewelry pliers to connect the pieces. But I did scour to find some pieces that we could connect by hand. So I'm happy about that. So earrings, to make them dangle from your ear, you start with what's called an ear wire. And that's what we have here in the kit. And these are solid, pure, natural brass. And they're called, this style is called French ear wire. That's what it's called in the the jargon of the field. And then, so the connector that we're using to connect the charm, that terminal is called a bail, B-A-I-L. So this is just as delicate because this is a small, these are delicate, dainty earrings that we're making to mimic the delicate, dainty flame of a candle. So we have to be just as attentive as we were with the beads, that nothing flies away or falls away and things like that. So be very attentive in your workspace. Okay. And then, so I showed you the ear wire, I showed you the bail, the connector, and then we have our charm, which is a golden flame drop. And this is made of Czech glass as well. So to make a nice dangly, dainty earring reflecting the theme of our burning candle lights. And, this candle will never burn out, this flame. This is definitely an eternal flame that you'll have in your earrings. Okay, so if you have your PDF, it would be helpful to look at the picture and to read the instructions because, this is different process first that we've used from the beading. Okay, so let's start. And this is written on the PDF. You take one ear wire at its top curve. So, hold the ear wire as if it was on your ear, and the top curve, hold it at the top with your left hand between your thumb and your first finger. Now take one of the bales. Now, if you can see, the bale is open and it looks like an open triangle. So the top of the bale is the tip of the triangle. So take the bale in your right hand between your thumb and first finger. So the left hand between a thumb and first finger, you have the one ear wire upright, and on your right hand between thumb and first finger, you have the bale. Now put the bale through the loop at the bottom of the ear wire, and while you're doing that, gently move your thumb and first finger towards that loop and hold it tight with the top of the bale extended from it.
Donna, could you put that right up to the camera? No.
There's
I
also a
can't see.
picture on the PDF. Okay, so this is, okay, you have the ear wire in your left hand. Now, I know they're very small. Then you have the bale. Can you see?
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You see, okay, good. So you can get a grip of the two components flush to each other. Now you take the flame in your right hand. So the top of the flame is the smaller tip. And if you look at the smaller tip at the top, there's two small holes on either side. So take the
How's
flame.
that, Donna?
I'm sorry?
How's that?
Oh my
Do you
God,
see my
look at
ear?
you. Yeah, nice. Good job. Perfect. Excellent. Yay. It looks nice on you. Perfect. Because it especially looks good on short hair, these earrings, so your ear is exposed so it really shines. Very nice. Good job. Okay. So, right. So you have the flame in your right hand. Now, slowly and carefully, you want to insert the hole. So the bale and the open parts has two extruding tips. They're like needles. And you put one of the bottom needle through one of the holes of the flame, hold it tight, and then push the top of the bale into the other hole of the flame. And it might take you a few times. It doesn't matter, you can open back up the bale. I mean, this is an art, this isn't a craft. It does take some time, a few attempts to get it. And these are very small pieces. So, it can get a little frustrating. But as you can see, it's feasible and it's worth the effort. So the picture on the PDF shows what you're looking to do, how you insert the bale in the bottom loop of the ear wire, and then you insert a hole at the top of the charm, the flame, into the pinhead of one side of the bale, and then push the top of the bale pinhead through the top hole of the charm and push that all very tight. You have to push it very tight so it's a firm connection, because these are very delicate and it needs the firm connection to really hold the charm. Any other questions? How are people doing? All right, so this is, yes, so as you saw with joy, and here is another example. Any other questions? So you can see it's a nice matching set of the golden charm with the golden candles and golden flames of the bracelet, and then the nice dainty flame drop of the earrings. So it's a nice matching ensemble. Look how pretty they look. Look at that. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Nice. Glad
Beautiful.
you. Thank you. I'm glad you could join us and experience this together.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And it's, yeah, so it's meaningful when we wear these, it reminds us, it internalizes, the thoughts, the spirits, the light, our heritage. So it's not just jewelry, it's meaningful accessories that become part of us.
Yes, it is.
And I need to once again thank Donna on behalf of us all for not only leading tonight. I mean, this is like the end of the journey. I mean, the beginning of the journey of you wearing the jewelry, but really it's the culmination of a creative process that begins with us, Donna and I, having conversations about the energy and themes of the holidays. And then Donna goes and comes up with these creative ideas that are just amazing. And, it's a creative idea that's art and jewelry and design and spirituality. And look, I mean, so Donna, thank you for all of the work that you do and all of your investment in this project. Thank you. We're ever grateful to you. And for all of you who are participating, you should know that you now have in your hands and you can now wear something that is truly unique and spiritual and symbolic and meaningful, and something you created with your own hands, and something that is literally limited in the world. This is not something you can buy, you can order online and just get, however number of pieces. This is a really limited run of exclusive jewelry. So I hope you appreciate it. And of course, wear it in good health, and may its symbols shine for you in good stead.
And I wanted to show again the concepts that we've developed for Purim and Passover. So I'm actually wearing them, starting with Purim. So yes, in discussions with Rabbi Ari, we focused on the concept. Purple is a very important color for Purim and regality and things. And so I did focus on that color. So this bracelet here is nice black lava stone beads with a nice, very central, large, faceted amethyst focal stone. So it's really gorgeous. The two bracelets we made so far for the Hoshin and tonight were more on the delicate side, and this is more organic. And to go along with that, so these beads are lava stones, real lava. These were made from real, volcanoes. And so they're porous. So these are also natural diffusers. So with this project, I'm going to include a little personal vial of lavender essential oil from France. And you'll be able to infuse the beads while, so you'll basically have aromatherapy bracelet as well. And along with that is something fun, which the rabbi alluded to earlier. It's a wearable fashion grogger. It's a silk cord, purple. So again, a matching ensemble, silk cord, and there's a gold-filled ring from which there are three hand-painted little beads to make noise to blot out Haman's name. So that's very, very fun. And then,
One second, Donna.
Yes.
Donna, before you continue, I mean, I hope everyone is appreciating the incredible creativity and how to take concepts and literally bring them to life. Like the concept of a grogger necklace, I defy you to find a grogger necklace. I challenge everyone here, find me a grogger necklace other than the one that Donna created literally for us. It's incredible. And by the way, you should know, Donna, and we mentioned this in the first session, Donna's jewelry is at Pond City Market and boutiques in and around Atlanta, and she's featured with connections with, she's connected with other jewelry creators around the country and around the world. So this is an incredible opportunity. Anyway, continue, Donna. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
I
off.
appreciate it. And that's why I say it's Nouveau Judaica, right? If you go looking for a grogger necklace, it's going to be, like a stainless steel chain, and then actually a mini, plastic grogger. Right. That's right. This is you're right. And I appreciate, that this is, what shows. It says, yes, it's a very unique. So it's a fashion piece. So that also makes it why it's more internalized. Not only are we going to be making it ourselves, but it is something, that's very personal. Like, so we use silk in our first project, in our necklace with the Sephirot. So this is very organic, and so purple silk that we're going to, natural, that we're going to cut and knot together, but ends up very elegant. Beautiful, thank you. And then, right, so Passover, fun as well. And the theme is going to be wine. We drink 4 cups, we spill a little. We have Elijah's cup. So wine is very central to the Passover tradition. And we're going to celebrate both rosé wine and red wine. So for rosé wine, we have a very nice bracelet, rose quartz, genuine rose quartz, and some pewter charms, a vintage wine glass and vintage wine bottle, and then some very lovely silver spacers. That's actually the same design type of beads that we just used tonight, which were gold, the spacer beads, and those are silver. So it's so this theme for Passover is going to have a silver theme, and that's the rosé bracelet. And then for the necklace, it's a silver mesh choker chain that's adjustable length, and there's a lovely genuine garnet wine drop on a pendant bail from that. So we have all the symbology of how we drink the wine, how we spill the wine, and how we celebrate wine. And that's going to be also a very meaningful part of our Passover next year.
Amazing, amazing, beautiful, gorgeous. And I will tell you again, Donna, you make my job in these sessions really easy. I'm just saying, I don't have to this is, it's like, it's right there. The connections, the spiritual, the theme, the energy of the holiday, and the energy of the Kabbalistic understanding of it is right there. It's manifest. It's like, it's working together. The jewelry and the meaning, the spirituality, it's all there. So we have a lot to talk about in our upcoming sessions. In case maybe I didn't formally announce it, we're doing more of these. I think that's what we were just trying to say. We're going to be doing more of these, and we'd love for you to join and we'd love for you to share and let your friends know. I mean, listen, we want to keep it small, right? But, we don't mind. I mean, Donna, you mind adding a few extra kids? All right.
My
Whatever.
pleasure.
We can make it happen. We can
Yeah.
make it happen. All right. I think we can close it out. Donna, again, thank you. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Dr. Maxey, for helping sponsor tonight's event, as well as the last session. Really appreciate your support and the contributions toward keeping the programming going here at Intown Jewish Academy. And thank you all for being here on a chilly evening. Thank you to our lamaka for giving us a dance.
For Hanukkah.
And have a wonderful Hanukkah. Don't forget to celebrate with us, to celebrate as well you can with family and friends. Thank God for Zoom, right? I also want to make two very quick announcements about Hanukkah events locally, Hanukkah lightings. I mentioned the Saturday night Cafe Chabad event. Please join us for that with inside Israel's Iron Dome. So you can find information about that on intownjewishacademy.org, our website. In addition to that, we are going to have a few community celebrations here in Atlanta. Number one, this Sunday at 4:30 p.m. we have a drive-in Hanukkah celebration. So you come in, there's a big screen, like a drive-in theater. You tune into the station, and you'll hear the Hanukkah lighting in the program. And there's going to be a movie, also a film screening then as well. So it's going to be fun for the whole family. If you want dinner, you can order dinner. We'll bring it and have it for you. So that's you can find out more information on chabadintown.org. Again, it's 4:30 at Ponce City Market right here in Ponce Highlands. And then
Rabbi,
yeah.
Allegra had a question, so I just wanted to make sure you had heard her before you finish up with announcements.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. I did not notice that. Okay, good. All right, so hold on. And one more announcement is for a Hanukkah event is Wednesday night. So next Wednesday night, we're going to be having a Hanukkah lighting outdoor, socially distanced Hanukkah celebration outdoor. It's going to be at the park. I forgot the name of the park. It's at the corner of St. Charles and North
Highlands, yeah.
Island. Joy, do you know what it's called?
It's called the North Highland Park. Very creative.
Oh, the North Highland Park on North Island at St. Charles. That makes
And if you're,
a lot
you're
of
in-
sense. Okay, so you can join us then 5:30. I'm looking around and I see some neighbors to the park. So please join us and please let other folks know. All right, and Allegra, you had a question.
Yeah, so I got 3 of these little
Yes, that
like
was
river beads almost.
Yeah, I just put that in the dreidels just for a little more fun, just for a little more Jewish themed excitement. And maybe you can try like spinning the dreidel with them in a little bit, so you make it a nice, multimedia experience. Yeah, it was just a little bonus that I put in just for a little fun, for a little more Hanukkah theme.
Okay.
Look at that.
Thanks. I just wanted to make
bonus.
sure I wasn't
Yeah, it's not like part of the bracelet or anything.
All right. I wanted to thank you all again for being here. Have a wonderful night. Happy Hanukkah. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Happy Hanukkah.
And stay spiritually supercharged. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.